What's up, y'all? It's Big Mike Raider in the building with Severe, and we're swaggering boisterously. Let's get this thing started.
This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, we just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking device is just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scramble they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. I can't explain it.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Big Mike Raider, and we're in the building with Severe Raider. Severe, how you doing, bro? It's been a while, man.
Man, what's up? What's up, man? You know, Mike been all over the planet, man. So, you know, man, really making the planet Raiders. You feel me?
Hey, man, we trying to spread the word globally, man. And, you know, speaking of Planet Raiders, you know, we got some plans down the line for Planet Raiders. We'll talk offline. I want you to be involved with that as well, to be honest with you. But we'll talk about Planet Raiders. But before we get into that, man, we got a Week 14 matchup against the Vikings that we got to talk about fresh off the bye week. Both teams. Justin Jefferson's back in town for the Vikings. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what that matchup is going to look like. What else? You know, and then we're also going to be talking about the Raiders moving forward for the rest of the season. We're in the home stretch. You saw the thumbnail. We're in the home stretch. We got about 5 games left, including this one. And we're back right at it with some football on Thursday, right after this game against the Chargers. So we got us a pretty rough schedule for these next 5 games, and I kind of want to talk about each player's and our expectations for them, like our star guys, what to expect from them individually, and then we're gonna ask the question that everybody's talking about: do we keep Antonio Pierce? Is that our guy? And what are the guidelines? What's the fence? Where's the bar where we're like, what's the threshold, I guess, where we're saying that's the guy we're gonna keep up with, we're gonna keep for years to come. But before we get into that one, man, let me acknowledge the chat. Shout out to Dodgers Everything for popping in. He says, Raiders. Hey, thanks for popping in, man. You were here early at 7:45. I appreciate it. I know that my guy Graf down the dial is on his show. So, hey, the 3 that are in here right now, I appreciate it. It doesn't matter how many are in here. Just enjoy the show, and I'm sure everybody will catch it a little bit later. We got Protect the Shield podcast in the building. Shout out Big Mike. Great content, brother. Same to you, bro. Same
man,
to you.
Yes. Protect the Shield been putting out some heat, man. So, hey, man, shout out to him.
On fire right now, man. I saw him at the game. I see him at the game. I saw he got the shirts out and stuff. Like, Protect the Shield is on his way. And I wish you the best of luck in everything you do, bro. I mean that, bro. Raiders Primos, another up and coming guy, man. What's going on?
My brother.
Primos in the building.
That's bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So let's jump right into it, man. Oh, we got Christopher Munoz in the building, of course. Let me not forget him as well, man. So let's jump into it, man. We're going to jump into some Raiders talk, man. So we got the game versus the Minnesota Vikings. I'm looking at the injury report. The main guy that's on the injury report is Max Crosby. Did not practice today. Had the knee. Still has that knee. And I know if you saw his knee, right? That's been the big thing, man. Right now. Like his knee looked nasty, man.
It looked bad.
You know. Side note, you know, before we continue, what do you think about Max Crosby's knee? And are you concerned for him? Are you concerned for him to be continuing? What do you think about his knee, man?
Yeah, man. I think at this point in the season, It's very difficult because I don't believe we're mathematically out of the playoffs yet, but
Yeah.
we're essentially out of the playoffs. So at this point, for him to be playing, it's more of a pride thing. I know he prides himself on never missing a game, rarely missing a snap. So, but in kind of a wasted season, should we really be throwing him out there week in and week out, especially a guy like that that's a high motor guy? We know what he's going to give on every single play. So if it's a situation where if the trainers say there's no risk of injury and it's just more of a pain threshold type thing, and he wants to keep playing, let him play. But if there's any risk of injury at all, you got to sit him down. You got to sit him down.
Yeah, man. I was thinking, I saw something on Twitter. It was like a medical, channel on YouTube, but they dropped something on Twitter, and they were talking about Max Crosby's injury, and they were saying that there was bacteria in the fluid of the knee, and he had like a 15% chance of not surviving that type of injury as far as like staying alive. You know what I mean? We're talking about a career-altering situation. We're talking about life and death kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, when I hear something like that, I'm like, all right, bro, you might need to hang it up. Now I know that with a little bit of antibiotics and things like that, you can kind of alleviate a lot of that and recover from that. But if there's an underlying issue for that caused that swelling from the beginning, then that's something to be concerned about. So
exactly.
What the guy said on that on that channel, he's like a medical, like he's a doctor. He was saying usually that type of injury happens from like contact from like blunt force contact to that area. And that's probably what happened in a game. Probably somebody went after the knee or something like that, and that brings me a big concern. Now my concern is somebody gives him a similar type of hit in one of these games, and then
because they are
done. Right.
And
then his career is over. His career is over. Let's just be honest, right? Or something like that. He loses a leg or something like that.
Or he's never the same again after that, man. And
right.
And
then now we got a Max Crosby in like a shell of himself, right? And that's what I'm concerned about. I would love to see him play, but under the condition that he's 100% recovered from this knee injury. We're 5-7. You said it's a very small chance that we make the playoffs. We need a 2021 type of run for them to make the playoffs at this point. And
that still might not do it. That still might not do it because the AFC is competitive, man. Like we're competing with the Bengals. Well, the Bengals don't have Burrow anymore, but we're competing with the Texans. Like pretty much the whole AFC North, is right there. And then the AFC South, like you got the Jags and the Texans, both good. It's it's a lot of confidence for those two wild card spots, man. So
it's tough. Man. It's tough, and I know Max Crosby is a competitor, and I hope that there's some guys that are in his ear to kind of talk him out of doing something that might be cost him his career or risk his career. I would love to see him play, but I don't want to see him play under the condition that he's not 100%. So I'm going to pull up this question. It's a good question from Primos. Let me see. Where is it? Would you shut down Max Crosby if the Raiders lose this game? 5-8 season is a loss. If they lose this game, it's virtually a wrap.
In all honesty,
go for it.
You're right. No, but in all honesty, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'd probably shut him down already.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're right. And 5-8, now you're looking at draft position. Now I know it's a long season ahead, but if you have 8 losses, 9-8, you know that that's not going to necessarily get it done. Now I'm not for tanking by any means, but at some point you got to start evaluating what you got, right? You want to see what you got in your rookies. Byron Young, that's a guy that pops up into my head. Chris Smith, like these are guys that you want to see and evaluate, and at least see what you got before you start going into the draft. So not necessarily tanking, but putting in some backup guys, some guys that are like questionable to be on this team next year and see what you got. Now, things change. I will say things change if you win these next two. You're sitting at 7-7, and you know, after you beat the Vikings and you beat the Chargers, now you got the Colts. That's playoff implications, and then the Chiefs on Christmas, and then the Colts. Like, you know, things start looking different when you're at 7-7. Things look a lot different. So, game at a time. But you know, this one is very important. Where, you know, if they don't win this one, man, it's all but lost. And now you got to look at draft position. To be honest with you, man, what you think about that?
Yeah, man. And honestly, as I was saying before, it's not really much of a decision to me. I would have shut him down already. I don't think there's much that we can really gain from having him play. You know, I know there's a situation where there is some incentive for Antonio Pierce to have him play, because I know Antonio Pierce, if he performs well down the stretch and his team performs well, that kind of enhances his chance to have the interim tag removed and for him to be named the permanent head coach. But for the Raiders as an organization, even if we you know, backdoor into the playoffs, like, you know, what are we really going to do there? We're gonna have to face a gauntlet where we face probably a tough team in that first initial wild card game, and then then go to a very difficult team, because we're going to be playing probably like the number 1 or the number 2 seed in AFC. So I just really don't see much of a point. I know we're not for, and I'm not for tanking, like purposely tanking, but at this position, at this point, I'm thinking draft position. I'm thinking, what can we do to put this team in the best position to have the best possible pick? Like, people don't understand how much that can impact you, right? We were 1 win away. The 1 win away was the difference between us drafting Cleveland Farrell and us drafting Quinnen Williams. And I don't think there's anybody in Raider Nation that would say they would have rather us drafted Cleveland Farrell than Quinnen Williams. And that was 1 win. That was a meaningless win against the Denver Broncos. And it cost us, you know, one of the best young defensive tackles in the league. So we have to make those decisions for what's best for the Raiders going forward. And I think what's best for the Raiders going forward and what's best for the player. In this situation, both of those things converge. It's best for the player to shut him down, and it's best for the Raiders for him to be shut down. So I think, you know, it's an easy decision in my opinion.
There you go, man. But let's talk about the rest of the injury report. We got Brandon Facyson. Brandon Fayson's back in the game.
Who?
You know,
Brandon,
right?
who?
Exactly. The guy that we're paying $3 million, something like that, something crazy like that.
Man,
he's back. Kana Mauga. He's been out with the knee. Colton Miller, he didn't practice today with that shoulder. He's been dealing with that shoulder all season. Daniel Carlson with illness. John Jenkins, the OG, didn't practice today, but he had some rest. And then Malcolm Kuntz with that ankle. So we were pretty dinged up coming out of the bye, man. And still kind of it brings me a little bit of concern. But I think once everybody straps up for Sunday, I think we'll see everybody for the most part. I don't know about Brandon Facyson. That's a little iffy to me. It's week 14 and we're finally seeing him. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know about him still being on the squad, to be honest with you, man. But I don't know. What do you think about that, man?
Yeah, man. Obviously, the coaches see something in him or saw something in him where they really wanted him on this roster. My assumption is that since he's still here, even after Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are both gone, that this was like a Champ Kelly guy. The Champ Kelly really wanted him here, and that Champ Kelly has eyes on him, being a contributor on this team going forward. Because, and I think that could be part of the reason why we felt comfortable letting go of Marcus Peters, because without Marcus Peters, we either have to move, we'd have to start Amik, which I don't want to see Amik on Justin Jefferson, or we'd have to start Nate Hobbs outside, and Nate Hobbs hasn't really performed as well outside as he has inside. So I think maybe Facyson coming back alleviated some of those concerns and us letting Marcus Peters go. But dude, $3 million for sitting down pretty much the whole season, man, I would love to sign up for that.
Right.
I would love to have that kick, man. I can be injured. If I don't want somebody that's tall and injured, Where do I apply?
Right. Yeah, you like 6'8", bro. So yeah,
man. So shit.
Man. But let me acknowledge some of the chat, man. We've been talking, and then after this we'll talk about the Vikings injury report. One particular guy, and you already mentioned Justin Jefferson. But before that, let's just jump into this chat. Dodgers everything. If he's less than 70%, he shouldn't play. Absolutely. There's no question about that. He shouldn't be playing. Shout out to AR in the building, man. What's going on from the land down under, man? Good to see you, man. Thanks for the support. Let's see. Raiders Primos in the next 5 games. What does AOC have to do to be considered as a potential starter for the 2024 season? Me personally, I'm drafting a quarterback and letting him and Aiden battle it out. That's kind of where I'm at too. And it also depends on draft positioning at this point. To me.
I'm the same way, man. You know, I've been 2 guys I've had my eyes on is Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels. We're probably going to be, depending on what we do these next 5 games, we're probably not going to be in position to draft Penix, but I think we are squarely in position to draft Jaden Daniels, man. Especially if we keep AP. It's both former ASU guys. So Jaden Daniels is a quarterback I'm very, very interested in.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Let's see. Hit the like and subscribe to your boy Big Mike Raider. Go ahead and do it, man. Go ahead and do it. Let me see. Dodgers everything. Hate to sound like a broken record, but that's why JM should have drafted JC Jalen Carter. Yeah, you're right. Josh McDaniels screwed up on that one. But we've been talking about that all season. And you know, one thing that I don't know if you listened to Graf's interview with Hondo Carpenter.
Yeah,
Hondo had a lot of good things to say about
Ziegler.
What's his name? No, not Ziegler. It was Tyree Wilson.
Tyree Wilson. Yeah,
he had a lot of good things to say about Tyree Wilson. He was saying, you know, kind of sum it up. He was saying that there's guys in that draft that were considered as dudes, and dudes meaning like for sure shot guys. And they also had in mind that Tyree Wilson, it was going to be a 1-year project. And to me, he said, you know, give him some time. But when you see on the other side in Philadelphia, you know, Jalen Carter doing his thing, it's hard to think that way.
Destroying people.
Yeah.
Destroying people.
Yeah. And it's discouraging, right? Because we've missed so many times in first round picks. And I'm hoping it ends up working out with him. You know, Tyree Wilson seems like a good guy. You know, it's not his fault that he got drafted in this position. But it's very discouraging when you see, you know, the for sure shot guy that we should have picked up. I don't really care what was going on off the field with him. That's the guy that you should have rolled with. This defense looks completely different, you know, with Jalen Carter at D tackle, right?
Completely different.
And don't get me wrong, the D tackle's been playing well. Like all season, you know, for the most part, like these last few games, the D tackle's been playing.
I mean, I remember the film study that you and Andy had, man, where it was some very questionable defensive tackle play earlier in the season, man. They have picked it up. But like you said, man, Jalen Carter was one of those guys where he was the best prospect in the draft, period. Now, I'm not sure if it was a situation where Josh McDaniels and Ziegler passed on him. That might have been a directive from Mark Davis saying, hey, you know what, for the brand, we don't want this on our team, especially after what we just went through. So I think it could have been one of those situations. But yeah, man, I mean, there's 2 guys I wanted in that draft, and they were CJ Stroud and Jalen Carter, and both of them are performing pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. And then on top of that, double whammy, right? You know, Ziegler wanted CJ Stroud, who is leading the league in passing yards and is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. He's in the race for the MVP award. Like, you know, that's also insult to injury too. When we had a chance to kind of trade up and pick up a guy like CJ Stroud, but Josh McDaniels pretty much nixed that, you know, rumor, right? That's what the rumor is. So it's tough, man. It's definitely tough, man. But yeah, that's what it is. It is what it is. But you know, what can we do? What can we do? You know, so shout out to AR. He says, shut him down. It's not worth risking hurting Crosby for the long term. For the short term, I don't want an RG3 situation to happen to Crosby. Yeah, that's a good comparison. I mean, yeah, they play different positions, but RG3 started off red hot in his career, you know, until he got the ACL, and then He just wasn't the same guy after that. And he played that playoff game with ACL, messed up his knee even more. So, you know, that's a good comparison for sure, man. So, man, let's see. Let me move down. Let me scroll down. Let's see. Shout out to Protect the Shield podcast. I feel the draft pick perspective, but I think the player morale at the end of the season matters too. I want this team to go into the offseason with some hope, but I feel what y'all are saying. Yeah, it's a balance, right? It's you kind of that's the problem where we've been for the last 4 or 5 years, is that we're kind of stuck in the middle. We're not basement, like, you know, we're not 1-11, we're not 2-10 right now. We're not at the basement of the NFL, but we're not good enough to be in the playoffs either. So it's like we've been doing this, we've been kind of like spinning our wheels for like the last 4 years. At some point, we got to either trade up if we're going to go for the win, if we're going to, you know, continue trying to win and say we finish 9-8, we got to trade up, you know, to get the quarterback we want, or be in a situation to evaluate your young guys, not necessarily tank, but evaluate your young guys, throw them out there, and whatever happens. If they lose the rest of those games, then you're looking at a team who's 5-12 and likely have a top 5, top 10, you know, maybe 6 at the worst, number 6 draft pick. So now you're definitely in line for a Michael Penix or, you know, definitely a Jalen Daniels. So we're stuck in the middle. That's kind of what the problem is. So I don't know, man. What do you think about that, man?
I think there's a way to do it, right? Like, teams don't like tell their players to go out and lose. What you do is kind of what Mike Big Mike alluded to earlier. You just start playing these young guys. You know, hey, Nesta Jade and Byron, you guys are starting. Tyree Wilson, you on one side. Malcolm Coots, you on the other side. Jacorian Bennett, no, you starting. Sam Webb, you starting. Tyler Hall, you starting. You know, Chris Smith, you getting some run. Like, that's what you do. And you let these guys get their lumps. That's not going to hurt morale. If anything, you know, getting these young guys on the field is going to improve their morale. Now, maybe a guy like Devontae, maybe he'll get mad about it. Maybe a guy like Josh will get mad about it. But at the end of the day, these guys understand what's going on, and they understand the capabilities of this team, and they know what's realistic about this year. And they know realistically this team is not going to, you know, really make any noise this year. They know what they have to do for the future. And there's also a good chance that neither one of those guys are here next year, possibly. So, you know, that's always a consideration.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about the future of the Raiders shortly. But, yeah, you're definitely right, man. But shout out to Raphael. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the support, man. Let's see what else we got here. Raiders Primo says Jaden Daniels is his number 1 quarterback. Please draft him. That's, man, I'm a Michael Penix guy for sure. But that's kind of where I'm at. And that leads to this question right here. Aiden wins out. Do y'all abort the rookie quarterback plan? I still want him to battle it out. I want him to battle it out for next year. You know, you still got to look for a quarterback.
Yeah, man. If Aiden wins out, I will eat this entire sweatshirt I'm wearing right now. If he wins, I will eat this. I will, on live YouTube, I will cook this mug and eat it for y'all. But that's not good. There's a very good chance we lose for the first time in a long time. We lose to the Broncos and we don't at least split with the Chargers. Like, I do not see Aiden winning out. Aiden hasn't shown me enough to prove that he can win a game. Even he just had his best game of the year and we still got smacked. So I mean,
yeah. Well, hey, if that ends up happening, I got some hot sauce for you. Shout out!
I got some Sunday sauce, bro. I will Sunday sauce this whole thing up, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. Hey, if that happens, I got you, bro. I got you. Shout out to Anthony Provencio. He says need AP to pull a Versace to make the playoffs. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. You need 5 in a row to make the playoffs, as far as I'm concerned, man. We need to go 10-7.
And even then, it's sketchy because I don't know what tiebreakers are in the division, and we've lost them. We've lost some games in the AFC.
The one
because we lost to the Steelers. And we lost to the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are leading their division.
Yeah, right? So that really.
Yeah, but we lost to the Bills too. So we probably wouldn't have a tiebreaker against the Bills. Wouldn't have a tiebreaker against the Steelers.
Well, the thing
mean,
about the Bills have a tough schedule. They still got the Chiefs. Like they got a tough schedule. So I can see the Bills finishing off like 9-8. The team that the most important game is going to be against the Colts. If we do win the next two, if we win the next two, steal one in Kansas City, that'll put us at 8-7. And then we're going against the Colts for that number 7 spot, in my opinion. The Broncos are another team that we have to worry about. That might be that Week 18 game might be for a number 7 seed. You know, chances are probably not, but you know that if things play into the Raiders' favor, that Week 18 game against the Broncos is for the playoffs. Period. You know, so if you really look at it, the destiny is in our hands. Because the Colts and the Broncos are one of those teams that you got to have because they're in that wild card race, you know, but you got to take care of what's in front of you first. You can even say the Chargers, they're 5-7. So, you know, that's an elimination game, but these next two are elimination games, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah, facts.
So, you know, that's kind of where I'm.
This brother Big Mike said still won against the Chargers. I mean, against the Chiefs. That would be armed robbery if we beat the Chiefs.
That is highway robbery in Arrowhead. Yeah, on Christmas. We'd be like the Grinch in there, bro. Hey, man, I'm with it, bro. I'm down for that energy all day. But
me too, man.
Tonight makes it real, man. Hey, the Steelers lost to the Patriots.
Oh, they lost to the Patriots. I saw that they were coming. They were coming back. Bailey Zappi was out there played the game of his life.
Yeah. So they've been doing their thing. I mean, well, they did their thing this week, and the Steelers have no offense. I think they're going to end up folding late in the season. You know, they don't really have an offense. Kenny Pickett's dealing with injuries, so you know that you never know, man. The way things fall, they fell in our favor once. It could happen again. If I was a betting man, which I've been trying to cut off from that, but you know, if I wanted to put some money on it, I wouldn't bet on the Raiders making the playoffs. I love the Raiders, but it's a lot that needs to happen. You got to beat the Chiefs at home. You got to win. You got to win out, basically. You know.
Yeah.
And 2 of those games are on the road in tough environments.
Yeah, and the Broncos team we're playing now is a much different team than the team we played in Week 1. Much different team. Absolutely. And you know, Jerry Jeudy is playing well. Russell Wilson is playing better. Defense is playing better. I mean, you know, and then just in terms of matchup, say what you want about Josh McDaniels. A lot of people don't like him. He's a smart dude, and he knows strategy. And I don't think AP is there yet. AP is a master motivator, and if it's a situation where playoffs are on the line, maybe he can get the guys riled up enough. But you know, just in terms of tactician, I don't think he's messing with Sean Payton, man. And sometimes that's what it comes down to.
I mean, to your point, right? Like you saw the Raiders come out red hot against the Chiefs, and then when it came down to like sustaining that type of tactician, that type of aggression, it didn't last. We couldn't you couldn't hold that type of intensity. So you're absolutely right. You know, we don't have that guy that can be tactical and really fire on all cylinders. Now, hopefully, you know, this bye week, Bo Hardegree was in his bag. You know, he's in the lab trying to get that, you know, that playbook going. I know he's dealing with a very limited type of playbook, but that's asking for a lot of week 4. You know, so here's a comment of the night, man. It says, shout out to Flathead Jesus. He goes, if Aiden wins out, I'll eat the sweatshirt after you shit it out. Bro.
Hey man, some Sunday sauce to make that thing, man. No.
Yeah, a little Sunday sauce, a little cheese, you know what I mean? Like
that's that Yule log, man. That's that Yule log right there.
Little holiday log right there, bro. Hey, it is what it is, bro. You see, he also goes, I don't think a bunch of mediocre teams are going to get decimated by COVID, allowing us to barely beat them like in 2021. Yeah. That's a good point too. I mean, shit.
Man. You know, or for the coach to collapse down the stretch like they did that year, man, and just totally just fall off. You know, we needed several breaks that year to make the playoffs, and everything broke our way. Like we got it. Like if one thing happens differently, we don't make the playoffs that year, and we're talking totally different about that team. So I mean, I think Flathead Jesus is right about that one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Dodges everything. He says, "Bro, JM can't coach for nothing. It's a proven fact." Yeah, I mean, he can't coach.
That's a fact.
But
that's a
as
fact.
a play caller, he's. I mean, he's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's up there with the best. I mean, he showed it with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Now, if he was offensive coordinator, great. But him as a head coach isn't working, and you got to give him his credit. He can call a hell of a game when he's focused on doing that job. So I think that's what Severe was saying. He's not saying that he's a great head coach. What he's saying is that in comparison to Bo Hardigree, who is working with a very limited, playbook right now, it's really not fair to compare. And that's kind of where we're falling short right now. If you saw it against the Dolphins in the second half, you saw it against the Chiefs in the second half. So we come out smoking hot, but then we can't finish it because we start getting real vanilla and real plain on offense as the game progresses. So that I don't want to speak for you, but that's how I took it. What you were talking about, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the things that came out, and I believe it may have been Josh Jacobs that said it, is that under Josh McDaniels, they had game plan specific to attack the weaknesses of every team that they played. And they're not doing that under Bo Hardigree and under Antonio Pierce. They're just rolling out their playbook, which sometimes can work, right? It makes it a little bit easier for guys to digest. Guys can go out there and play faster, but you're also very vanilla, as we've seen. And once teams figure out what you're doing, you collapse in the second half. And that's exactly what we did. We came out like gangbusters against the Chiefs, and then we scored 3 points the rest of the game. So, like that's the difference right there.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like when they hit that 20-point mark, things just kind of halt. They put the brakes on it. They get real vanilla, and it's hard to watch that offense try to execute. And it's tough, but you can tell that things are starting to kind of form, especially with Aiden O'Connell. Like it seems like he was finally figuring things out, but it takes a while, and we can't expect him to do that. To just come out and be that superstar quarterback out of nowhere, especially when he was getting 13 reps in training camp and didn't really get a full off season to kind of do things out either. So, and then also here's the thing, like progress isn't linear. So, he can come out against the Vikings and throw for 350, and then on Thursday against the Chargers, stink it up. That's just part of the progress with having a quarterback. So, I don't have my hopes up if he has one great game. You want to see progress in certain areas, and then that's kind of what I'm looking at with him. But going back to what Protect the Shield said, like if he wins out, he deserves to at least get a look for the number one spot at quarterback. But that doesn't mean that we don't draft another quarterback. Now, if we do win out, we're looking at in the middle of the road, kind of being in the middle of the road of the draft. Now, do you move up in that situation, or do you kind of wait and get a guy like Bo Nix? He might be around in the middle of the first, or a JJ McCarthy who might be in the second round. So that's kind of what you're looking at in that kind of situation. And in that case, now you have these guys battling out. That's kind of what we're looking at with that one. So but that's where I'm at. Let me see. It says Andy Provencio says I want a Raiders to make a Jared Goff type trade to move up to number 1 overall to get Caleb Williams. I'm not a Caleb Williams fan, man. We both aren't.
No, sir.
I love USC. I know
no, sir.
You're a UCLA fan, so I can understand why. But
y'all stealing all my stuff, man.
There's a fundamental. There's certain tangibles that Caleb Williams to me doesn't have, leadership wise, that I don't, that I'm not a fan of, and that's really what it comes down to. Now I know that as years go by, I'm becoming the old man on the lawn, right? Like, but there's certain things that this young guy does that it doesn't seem to me that I would want to ever hand him the keys to the franchise,
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and I don't know him as a person, but what I've seen on TV, what I've seen him do, the paint of the nails, writing F-Tall on his hands, crying after losing to Washington.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with crying in a game, but kind of you're in a public eye. You got a target on your back, and you're gonna have a bigger target on your back when you go to the NFL.
Yeah. But the problem I have with the crying is that he was just clowning Max Duggan for crying after losing a national championship game. Bro, you lost a regular season game, and you're in the stands crying in your mother's arms. Like, boy, and the thing about Caleb is that I don't think he can go into a locker room, an NFL locker room, and command the respect of guys like Devontae Adams or Josh Jacobs or Max Crosby. Like, I don't think those dudes are going to look at him and really respect him just because the way he conducts himself. So, like I said, I'm not. Yeah, all the talent in the world, man. But like as we understood, man, like talent isn't the end all be all in the NFL.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like he's been training pretty much his whole life to get to this point. Heard that he has a strict diet, he has a strict regimen. His I think his dad is kind of like on him about like program and things. Like he's been on a strict program his entire leading up to this point. That reminds me of a Todd Marinovich to me.
Exactly, I was gonna say, bro. The last USC quarterback we had that was kind of on that same track was Todd Marinovich, was Robo QB, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, so
and it was also a situation.
History has a way of repeating itself. I'm not saying
exactly
Williams is going to be a plus by any means, but you got to look at the signs. You got to look at him, and then he's kind of getting too big for his pants. Like you're asking for, part of the team. Like you want stake in the team as far as ownership goes. Like the problem with that is that I think that Mark Davis would kind of fold and let him do that.
Possibly, man.
If there's any owner in the league, it would be Mark Davis to do something like that. Am I right? Like,
So, but the problem with that request is that even for him to get that, it has to be approved by the other NFL owners, and they're never going to approve that. Never going to approve that because then,
they won't even let Tom Brady get ownership on a discount right now. You think
exactly?
Let a player come in and get some ownership, like, bro?
Yeah, because then that sets a precedent. Yeah.
Yep. It's not going to happen, man. Let me move down here, and then we'll talk about the Raiders moving forward. I'm gonna get a score from you before we move on to that, man. Let me see. Flathead Jesus, I hate every idea of getting Caleb. Seems like an immature punk little kid. I don't know him as a person, man. It's the leadership that I'm looking at that kind of makes me pause a little bit from him, and I would say hard pass with that for sure, man. That's kind of how I feel about it. Raider Nation in the building. He says, "What's good, Big Mike? How many touchdowns will Devontae Adams have in the game against the Vikings?" I think 2. I think he's gonna have 2. What do you think?
I think he'll have 1. I think he'll get 1 early on. I mean, that's kind of been the bug on Devontae this entire year. We kind of force him the ball early on. No, those scripted plays, we scheme him open, and then down the stretch, he really doesn't get the ball at all. The second half, he gets very few targets or no targets, and he scores no touchdowns after second quarter. So I think he'll get 1 early on, probably end of the first quarter, and then it'll be the same old story.
Yeah, that's usually what it's been all season, right? Anthony Provencio says the ownership thing is what is that, a bell?
Cap.
I don't know what that is. Cap. Okay, it looked like a bell for here. Cap. Yeah, they said cap. Oh well, hey, I'm just going off a rumor. Maybe it's wrong, but besides that, there's still some red flags to me.
Major red flags.
Yeah, and I could be wrong. But as far as I've seen, I'm a USC fan as well. So, with that team, now you can blame most of it on the defense, but a team with that much talent on offense, man, it's. I mean, anybody can look good, right? Am I right? Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean,
so I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's good. I think he's a good quarterback, but people are saying he's a generational best quarterback since Patrick Mahomes, better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, we got to really kind of pump our brakes on that one, man. I got to see him play at the pro level before I kind of anoint him in that kind of light. So,
facts.
But yeah,
facts plus tax.
Yeah, man. Shout out to just another DJ. Yo, Big Mike, how you feeling about PG and his defensive scheme to stop teams' best players? Well, the last couple of games, his defense has been playing their ass off. Now, we got Justin Jefferson coming back. Now, I want to see what they're going to do with him. I want to see who's going to be on him. Are they going to bracket him? And you can't really bracket him because you got TJ Hawkinson that you got to deal with. You got Jordan Addison you got to deal with. And, I was about to say this, but to our defense, right, to our advantage, was the Josh Dobbs, he hasn't had that rapport with Justin Jefferson yet. So maybe there might be a rhythm issue. Now the bye week can help that a little bit, but they haven't jived together, and that takes a long time to kind of gel, right? And Josh Dobbs he kind of fell back, he crashed back down to earth against the Bears on Monday night. So the
pastronaut came down to earth.
Right, there you go. But that's to our advantage, right? And one thing I do want to see from the Raiders is that I want to see them force fumbles. Now, we've done really well with intercepting the ball all season. Like we're like the top 10 or even like kind of middle of the pack with interceptions, but we're amongst the league worst with stripping the ball and causing fumbles. Right. We need to, if we're going to get after Dobbs, we need to strip the ball out of his hand. That's what we need to do. Not just sacks, but strip sacks. That's going to be the key to the game for me. What is your key to the game for the Raiders to win this game? What are your keys, man?
So I think we have to not let Justin Jefferson go crazy on us. The Vikings have been struggling in the run game, so I think we have to ensure that they don't have a get-right rushing game against us. And that starts with, not necessarily with what's my man's name? Madison is their back, but I think that really starts with us making sure that Josh Dobbs doesn't go crazy rushing against us. Like I just had a feeling that Josh Dobbs is going to run for 100 plus yards, and I think if he runs for 100 plus yards, yes, and I think if he runs for 100 plus yards, I think it's going to be. I think that I'm putting this squarely in the L column. So, like I said, if we got to contain Josh Dobbs, make him a passer from the pocket, and I think we have a chance.
One thing I did like what the Raiders did on defense was for the most part, they kept Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. He didn't do much with his legs, and when he did, he bit us for it pretty bad. But for the most part, Patrick Mahomes didn't have that opportunity to kind of improvise. We kept him in the pocket. It was kind of the fourth quarter where things kind of unraveled a little bit, but for the most part, like, we kept him under control. And I think if they bring that same kind of intensity of defense, I think they could do that against Dobbs. I mean, Dobbs isn't Patrick Mahomes. So, and
as a passer,
the Vikings say what?
As a passer, no, but as a runner, he's more explosive than Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Madison. They're like amongst the league worst as far as rushing attack.
I think they're second to last.
So, and I think that we've been doing an okay job with stopping the run the last couple of weeks. So, if they can keep that going, I think we could be all right. I think we'll be all right. I got this game 19-14. We won't score 20 again. but we'll win this game. I think it's going to be 19-14. I think Dobbs is going to struggle trying to find his receivers, especially in the end zone. And we're going to take advantage of some turnovers. But 19-14 is my score for that for the game, man. That's what I got. Let me see. Anthony Provencio says, you call him a punk little kid, but when the Raiders have a Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson type of quarterback that gives you confidence to win any game, I'm here for that. I mean, who's to say that Jaden Daniels isn't that type of guy? Who's to say that Michael Penix isn't that type of guy? Who's to say that I don't think we're going to get a guy like Drake May, but a Drake May isn't that type of guy. A Bo Nix isn't that type of guy. Like, you don't have to get a Caleb Williams to have that type of quarterback that can be a difference maker, an X factor type of player on offense.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Caleb Williams goes, I wish him the best, man. Like, I don't want to see him fail. What I'm saying is, and I don't think he's a punk little kid either. Like, I don't know him as a person for me to even ever say that, But as far as leadership goes, he doesn't show the tangibles. He doesn't show what it takes for me to give him the keys to the franchise, for him to be our guy to look at alongside Max Crosby, to be that franchise guy. I just don't see it. I don't see it at this point. And that's all I'm saying.
I don't either.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Raider Nation says it's going to be 21-17. I mean, that's kind of close to where I'm at. I said 19-14, so I can see that. If you break 20, that'd be great.
Is that us? Is that us? Because we just he's put out a score, bro. He's put out. I'm assuming he's saying the Raiders winning, but I don't know, because I got us scoring over 20 points. That's a rare occasion.
Right. Been rare all season, right? Shout out to R for Life 1970. Thanks for popping in, man. Let's see what else we got right here. R for Life says 27-17. Yep, that's 27 would be that'd be good too. I haven't seen it all season. We scored 30.
That's the score I got. Yeah, I got it 27-17, but unfortunately, I got the Vikings scoring at 27. I got the Vikings scoring 27, man. Got the Vikings scoring 27, man. Brian Flores is gonna have something special. Like Brian Flores is, he's gonna have something special for this game. He done had 2 weeks to scheme up for Bo Hardegree. Oh, he about to come with something special.
That's a good point. Now, he did turn that defense. He turned it around overnight. In one season, he turned that defense around overnight. So, that's one thing that the Vikings do have, is that they do have a sound defense that can make plays. Now their problem is turnovers. They're the worst in the league in giving up the ball. So they're about as worse than us. They're worse than us, actually, as far as giving up the ball. So that's what's going to keep us in the game. Now, if we can cause 3-4 turnovers in this game, that I can see that being the key to us winning the game. And the Raiders have been good for it all season. So that's why I say, the Vikings offense is going to let them down. Now, I don't think Justin Jefferson is such a big difference in the offense. And I say that considering that they already had TJ Hawkinson as a top 5 tight end in this league. Jordan Addison, who's been playing very well.
Been balling.
As a wide receiver, So, and other pieces that they have on offense. I don't see Justin Jefferson being that big of a difference to where you can be like, this offense is going to really turn things around as far as being protecting the ball. So that's why I say the Raiders are going to win a close one, 19-14, basically because of those turnovers. I see them giving up the ball because they've been doing it all season. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I can see if it gets out of hand, I can see a 27-17. I can absolutely see that. So I'm with you on that one, man. I get it. I can see both scenarios. Just another DJ. Severe's on spot with Dobbs. He likes to move in the pocket. No Max, no sacks. Yeah, and that also, we got to see if Max Crosby is going to be in the game. And if he is he going to be? Is he even going to be? Is he going to be effective at this point? So the problem is that even if Max plays, Max doesn't keep contained.
So if Max likes to do this thing where he jumps inside. He tries to be the guy with a quick inside move. And when you don't have contain, especially against a guy like Josh Dobbs, he is going to hurt you. He is going to hurt you badly with his legs. Yeah, he's going to hurt you badly with his legs. And then you got guys like Addison and Justin Jefferson that on those secondary breaks, they can make plays and get open, find spots in the zone. And like I said, Josh Dobbs, he's a very good athlete. Has been since Tennessee.
Yeah.
He will run on you, and it's not going to be no 5-6 yards. He will hit you for 15, 20 real quick. So, and we don't have that. We don't have the athletes at linebacker that can really run with him outside of Divine. So, I mean, Spillane ain't gonna hawk him. So it's like it can be a long day. It can be a long day for us.
It has a potential. I will say that. Anthony Provencio really does not agree with anything we're saying right now as far as these quarterbacks next year. He says Penix blew out both of his ACLs. That is true. I will say that. But, he's still out there.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is the guy. And he
as wasted talent would say, Jaden High Stakes Daniels.
Yeah, I'm
man just won Player of the Year.
And Bo Nix is nearly 30. He's only 23 now. 23, 24. He's not that old, bro.
Oh, ain't no Connor's about to be 26 years old next year, man. So y'all tripping about,
Bo Nix has been he's been in college for like 6 years, but he's only like 24, man. Like he's not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You can't really say that either, So it's a different type of NFL now, where these guys are coming out at 23, 24, maybe even 25 years old now, as opposed to a guy that's 20 years old. You get that every once in a while, but it's 24, a 24-year-old quarterback, you got a good 16 years you can still play in today's football. So
Jaden Daniels is putting up video game type numbers in the SEC. Like he's putting up some crazy numbers. And he should, and he has a defense that's as worse or worse than Caleb Williams in a much tougher conference. And he's putting up crazy numbers, like 78% completion percentage, like 98 point something QBR. Like he's rushed for over 1,100 yards. Like it's crazy numbers.
Bro, side note, bro, if you told me you told me you were Jaden Daniels and you played for LSU, I believe you. I'm just saying, man. You got the same like height and weight, and you kind of look like him just a little bit.
Yeah, he's my exact same height. He's 6'4", 215. I'm like 6'4", 212-ish. So like we about the same size.
Yeah, y'all kind of look alike too, bro.
Yeah. Hey man, shit.
Look like that could be his son, bro.
Hey man, I might get in free to some Raiders games, man, if you draft him,
Hey, come on.
But that's my cousin.
Look it up. Hey, look it up. Dodgers everything. He says 23-13 Raiders defense with a pick 6. That'll give it done. That'll get it done for sure. Anthony Provencio says, "Give me Caleb Williams." ALC proves he ain't it. Hey man, agree to disagree. But man, it's Dominic 5 in the building, man. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the support. He said he agrees with you, Jaden Daniels, man. I got to see a little bit more from him, man. I didn't really watch too much LSU this year, but the guy's winning the Heisman. He's gonna win the Heisman this weekend. So I gotta do a breakdown. I gotta check him out. So I gotta do my homework on that one. Not gonna lie to you,
man. Just watch what he did against. Even though he lost the Alabama game, watch what he did against Alabama. Like, dude, he's only thrown 4 interceptions all year in the SEC. Super accurate, like 78% completion percentage. Like, and the thing about I want to say he's second in NCAA in passing yards. I think only person that has more was Nix, but he's thrown the ball like 70 times less than Nix. So it took Nix way more attempts to do what he did in yardage, and he's much more accurate. It's crazy. Like he's putting up crazy, and then he's doing it in the SEC. So it's not like he's doing it in like the Big 12 or something like that. He's doing it in the toughest conference in all of football. So
that's true. Now my only concern is now this is me probably being ignorant, right? Because like I said, I haven't really watched or kept up with him too much. But Where was he last year? Where was he a couple years ago? I know he played at ASU, but I didn't really hear from him as far as like stats and being that guy as he is this year. So that's my concern.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the one hit wonder type of deal that I'm concerned about. You know what I mean? Now, shoot, correct me if I'm wrong, bro. Like, hey, if he's been doing this for the last couple of years, hey, correct me, bro. But that's kind of my concern.
So at ASU he was good, but not great. He went to LSU last year and had a really good year last year. It's just LSU wasn't a good team, and this year they're a much better team, and so that's helping him get more spotlight. But he had a good year last year as well.
Okay. Yeah, I got to, like I said, man, I got to check out. I got to check him out. I'm gonna do my homework.
Yeah.
But I'm a Michael Penix guy, man. And I saw Penix do it for 2 years, and I even seen him a little bit when he was with Indiana. He put Indiana on the board when he was there, transferred to Washington, and you saw Washington's been for the last 2 years. So, that's kind of where I'm at with Penix. Penix seems like the guy. He has the it factor. He has the tangibles. Now I know he's got the ACLs, but
exactly.
Behind the center. The guy's the guy, man. Like you sling the ball, he throws guys open. People aren't really big on the lefty delivery, but I think a lot of people just don't like how it looks when a left-handed person throws a ball. So
it's different.
That's kind of what I think it is. It looks different, and I'm left-handed, so I mean, I'm gonna favor the left-handed guy. So I mean, that's just me. So I get it, but it's. I got to do some more homework, man, for sure.
Watch him.
Oh, yeah, I got to check him out for sure. Shout out to R for Life 1970. I'm saying Jaden Daniels is the truth. I've watched the tape on him and very impressed. Nick's strong arm as well. And Penix, love the kid, but arm isn't the strongest. And the knees, I'm not sure yet. A lot of people are talking about the knees for Penix and Nick's. Think about Nick's too is the same idea, right? I mean, where was he last year? Now, Nick's was decent, but he wasn't the guy he was this year. So, to me, when I see something like that, my first concern is ceiling. Did we see the ceiling of these guys? And that's kind of my concern with Nick's. That's my concern with Jaden Daniels. Penix, you can argue that that's the same thing for Penix, but it's tough, man. Evaluating quarterbacks is tough, man. It's a tough deal. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm definitely gonna do my homework on that one. Anthony Provencio, he says, only thing I love about Jaden Daniels is he's from San Bernardino. Yeah, he went to Cajon High School, man. That's one of the best teams in San Bernardino. Or is it like Rivers? One of those schools. Yeah, I think it's San Bernardino. So yeah, man, California, homegrown. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna root for that for sure. So here's a question right here. Say what?
I'm gonna say the last QB from that area seems to be doing pretty well in the draft. I mean, we got that my boy C. I told people about CJ Stroud last year. Telling them all last year CJ Stroud was that guy. Now I'm saying Jaden Daniels is that guy. And so we'll see.
Over there.
We'll see. I know, man. Something in the
water,
schools, man.
Yeah,
something in the water.
Schools. CJ Stroud went to Rancho Cucamonga. One of those powerhouse schools in California. Cajon, they hold their own in California. And then, then you got
SoCal quarterbacks is getting it, man.
Yeah. Then you got Bryce Young from my hometown, Pasadena, who isn't really doing much. So, but hey, it might not be him. It might be
it's not his fault.
Yeah, it's not his fault. But before we get out of here, man, let's talk about the Raiders moving forward, man. There's a lot of things on the line right now. We got Josh Jacobs, who is probably his final 5 games with the Raiders. We got Antonio Pierce, possibly, coaching for his head coaching, career. We got Devontae Adams. There's a lot of talk about him getting traded, particularly to the Jets, or just traded in general. 5 games, according to you, right? what do you think our record's going to be, and where do you see Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Antonio Pierce when this is all said and done by the end of the season?
So I got us at 2-3. I got us beating. I got us beating the Chargers. It's gonna be a tough game, but I got us beating the Chargers. I think the Chargers have all but quit on Brandon Staley. He's kind of a lame duck right now, and I think we'll beat them. And I got us actually beating the Colts, man. I got us sneaking up on the Colts. For some reason, we've done reasonably well against the Colts. We beat them 2 years ago. I think we lost to them last year, but I think we can beat the Colts this year. And in terms of AP, man, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if AP is the guy that I trust with the reins of this team. I think we grade AP on the curve just because we dislike Josh McDaniels so much that we want to give as much grace as possible to AP. But if you look at the team, I'm a results-oriented guy. And like I said before, I'm not giving anybody any passes. We came out one time and scored 20 points. Scored more than 20. We scored the 30 against a very bad Giants team that lost their starting quarterback. And then we had a pretty much a sluggish game against the Jets. We played hard against the Dolphins and still lost. And then we went out and came out quick against the Chiefs and lost, much like we did last year. Get up early, lose late. And in none of those past 3 games did we score 20 points. So if you're looking at just results, what are the results? Don't tell me the team is playing harder or they like each other more or everybody's going out for coffee after the game. They're having pizza parties. Like, I don't care about none of that. What are the results on the field? And the results on the field look exactly like they looked earlier in the year. So, unless I see vast improvement from this team down the stretch, I know he should get a shot at the job, but I'm not locking him in. A lot of people are locking him in like he has to get the job. He should be part of the interview process, but I'm not locking him into the job. And Josh Jacobs, if AP isn't back, I don't think Josh Jacobs is back. And if AP isn't back, there's a very good chance that Devontae isn't back either.
Yeah. So I see things going just a little bit, not a little bit. I see things going a little different. I see it going different for sure. I got the Raiders finishing 4-1. Now I said at the beginning of the season they're going to go 9-8. I'm sticking with that. I didn't see them being in the situation they're in right now. I thought maybe they'd be 7-5 going into these last 5 games. But I'm gonna stick with 9-8. As far as Josh Jacobs goes, if we do finish 4,
you guys going 4-1 down the stretch.
4-1. I got
so
4-1 down the stretch.
Who's lost? The loss to the Chiefs, I presume.
To the Chiefs. I had them losing to the Chiefs on Christmas Day. Okay. That's I don't see us losing. I don't see us winning in Kansas City.
That was your record prediction. That was your record prediction to start the year too, right? 9-8.
9-8.
Was that your record prediction to start the year? So you holding true. You holding true to holding true to that 9-8.
That's why I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
And as far as if they do finish 4-1, I think that Antonio Pierce earned a head coaching spot. Now, this game against the Vikings is going to tell me a lot where this team is as far as progression, right? Now, a lot of people are going for Antonio Pierce because of the road traveled, the distance traveled from where they were against the Bears to the Lions to where they are now. You got a team who is playing hard right now, right? And that goes a long way to me. And that will go a long way next year if you have the right pieces in play, meaning a new offensive coordinator, and a whole offseason to kind of prepare with a new playbook and things like that.
Let me ask you one quick question. I don't mean to cut you off. So
go for it.
The thing always, the only I think I always hear, right, as the excuse for AP is that he didn't get an off season and he has a bad offensive coordinator. But by that same stretch, Bo Hardegree didn't get a full offseason either, right? And he didn't get a chance to install the offense that he would want to. So why is it okay for everybody to say Bo Hardegree shouldn't be the offensive coordinator, but by the same token say Antonio Pierce should be the head coach?
You're right.
You feel me? Like,
here's the thing.
Isn't that like a double standard?
It is. Now, I will say this. Now, if there is progression and we go 4-1, that obviously says that there was progression on what they're doing operationally, right? If they go 4-1, which I'm sticking to my guns, they're going 9-8, right? They go 4-1, that means there was progression, meaning that Bo Hardegree could also be our offensive coordinator next year. Now, he's working with a limited playbook, right? That's what the word is. Aiden O'Connell's working limited. That's why they look good in spurts, and towards the end of the game, they kind of run out of gas as they lose the creativity, right? Because they're limited playbook. So if they finish 4-1, you got to give a chance to Bo Hardegree to have that full playbook, to install what he wants to do, to have a full philosophy for offense and things like that. They got the pieces in line, right? They got the guys that can get the job done with what he's trying to run. There's no need, if it works out, for them to kind of go searching for another guy and possibly rebuild this whole thing, break things down. We got too many good pieces on offense and defense for us to be like, let's just scrap the whole thing. You know what I mean? That's kind of my problem. Now you're looking at leadership styles, right? I like a former player, particularly a linebacker, to run this team. You've seen it with DeMeco Ryans. Now I know he had a lot more experience at defensive coordinator. He moved up the ladder. I get it. Mike Vrabel the same way. But I could. Some people are just are already ready for that. You know what I mean? Are already ready to be that guy that's in charge, the leader of men. Some people are already ready for that. And I think that if Antonio Pierce is 4-1 going down the stretch, he absolutely earned this spot. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So as far as Josh Jacobs goes, I think Josh Jacobs stays if we have Antonio Pierce. Give him another 1 or 2 years. And as far as Devontae Adams goes, I kind of have a feeling that he ain't going to stay. I think that it's going to be time to move on. I don't think he's happy here. I think he's happy for right now, but what they're trying to build moving forward, he might want to go play back with Aaron Rodgers or go for a title contender, which that's fine. As long as we get compensated well,
exactly.
Get a draft pick or build a defense,
if I get Quentin Williams in the first, or even Quentin Williams the second and the third, I'm thinking long and hard about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of where I'm at with Antonio Pierce and this team moving forward. These next 5 games, particularly this game, I got to see progression off the bye week. I got to see where they go, where they've been. Let's see if that distance traveled is they're still on that trajectory of traveling towards success. Because where they started from the Lions to where they were, even up to the point where after the Dolphins game, it seemed like a far distance travel. So if they're still continuing that trajectory and they go on and win out, then I'm cool with it. But if they come out and lay a damn egg against the Vikings, I'll have a different change of heart for sure. But if they go 4-1, you got to give the man a chance. You got to give a man a shot to keep this job. That's kind of where I'm at, man. Let me see, man. I'm way behind let me hear what everybody has to say with this one. Let me see. Let's start with Anthony Provencio. If AP wins 5 straight and we make the playoffs, keep AP, no doubt. That has to happen. If he wins 5 straight, you got to give it to him, right? I guess, or at least, I
have a question for the chat. While you're going through the questions, I got a question for the chat real quick, or y'all can leave it in the comment section. We're winning these games largely on defense. Why isn't anybody considering Patrick Graham to be our head coach? Why isn't he getting the same type of love like I think somebody said in the chat, like, what does AP do? Like, what does he do? I know what Patrick Graham does, and he coordinates, a pretty good defense. That's that's low on talent, to be honest with you, and low on investment as well. So why isn't he? Because before, when he was with the Giants, he was getting some head coaching buzz. So why isn't he getting the consideration for a head coaching job? That's a question for the chat and for the comment section.
That's a good point. That's the good point. Now, I don't know how to even answer that, but I will say for Antonio Pierce, I don't really want my head coach to be the micromanager and calling plays and things like that. He's a game and player manager. Now, as a linebacker, as a former player, he knows scenarios. He can see scenarios and call things correctly and work alongside his offensive coordinator, work alongside his defensive coordinator, put their heads together in real time and call the correct things. Now, I don't need Antonio Pierce to be a wizard in play calling. He doesn't have to be he doesn't have to be this wizard on offense or wizard on defense to be a head coaching material at this point in this juncture. As long as he has a good team around him and he uses his brain and situational awareness and put guys in the right position. That's kind of what I'm looking at from him. Not necessarily being that 100% supreme, play caller. That's kind of, we don't need that at the head coaching spot. We don't need that. We just need a guy who knows how to manage guys. You know what I mean? Be the leader of men. Somebody, that's kind of where I'm at with Antonio Pierce. But that is a good point with Graham. Like, why aren't we talking about him? I think it's wishful thinking. We kind of want that continuity at the defensive coordinator position, stay there. But if he continues this, he comes in next year and builds his defense to a top 10. He's on his way out anyway as a head coach, So that's just how it works. That's just,
Look, and this is another thing. We just talked about Brian Flores, right? Brian Flores is going to probably get a head coaching job somewhere next year. And if Brian Flores gets a head coaching job somewhere next year, Brian Flores' first year in Miami, who was his defensive coordinator? Patrick Graham. So there's a good chance. And the only reason Patrick Graham left is to go work for Daboll. And the only reason he left the Giants is to go to work for Joe Judge. He went to go work for Joe Judge from the Patriots. And he left the Giants to come to work with Josh McDaniels because that Patriots connection. So if Brian Flores, we hire an outside guy, or even if we hire AP and Brian Flores gets another job somewhere else next year, there's a chance that he might poach Patrick Graham and offer him like assistant head coach or something like that, and that defensive coordinator title as well.
That's a good point. That's something to consider for the offseason for sure, man. Shout out to Van City Raider in the building. Mikey, what's good, brother? You're gonna be at the Donkeys game? I don't know yet. We'll see. I'll be out in Vegas for that game. We're gonna have a little celebration with Graf for his birthday. So I'll be out there in Vegas for that weekend. So for sure. I don't know if the game though.
You'll be out there for the Denver game? That's the last game. That's the last game of the year?
It's the last game. I'll be out there. I don't know if I'm going to the game though, but I'll be out there in Vegas.
Man, let me know.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. Which AFC team will have the number one spot? The Finns or the Ravens? Both are 9-3. I think the Ravens.
The Ravens.
I said at the beginning of the season that the Ravens is going to the Super Bowl. That was my Super Bowl pick, was the Ravens. And I had them going against the Vikings, but that doesn't look like that's happening.
Man. It's looking good.
Yeah.
My
looking like a genius.
My nephew, my nephew Jane Daniels plays a lot like Lamar Jackson.
Hey, just saying, right? Just saying. After Life 1970, I feel this week will tell us a lot. They had 2 weeks to put some stuff in, so let's see what Bo cooked up. Yeah, this is going to be a big indicator on where we're headed. This game is going to be telling me where we're headed. Let me see what else we got. Let me see. R for Life 1970. He says AP is over everything. He checks out what the coordinators bring up and he approves it or makes adjustment to it. Graham may be a head coach, but not right now. I'm sure he was interviewed for Mark. I mean, there's a reason why. There's a reason why he's still coordinator, right? And have you ever seen him even be considered for a head coaching spot? Like, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have it. Like, to me, he's a little quiet,
Yeah. He got some buzz. He got some buzz after his first year with the Giants. I think he had some buzz,
Yeah.
but like you said, like he's a. I mean, he's not the rah type. He's looking a little bit more for.
Oh, I think we lost him. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I lost you for a second, but yeah, I got you, bro. But yeah, you're right. He's not that rah type of guy for sure. But to me, I think that some people aren't supposed to be head coaches. Now I know people
Not
move
fact.
up the ladder and they get a shot, right? Some people are just meant to be coordinators, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Josh McDaniels should have never been a head coach. He should have stayed. He should have stayed, and what he does best is coordinating an offense. That's exactly where he should have been. Putting the players in the right position and calling the right plays, not being that head coach, leader of men. It's two different roles there. You know what I mean?
No, that's
head
true.
coach is like, head coach is kind of the director of what's going on. He's the guy that moves the pieces. He's the guy that dictates where people go. And the coordinator is the one that's like drawing the shit out. He's the architect.
Yeah.
It's two different people. It's two different roles in that. Some people are good at being the architect, and some people are good at moving the pieces. And Graham might be the guy that's just good at moving at being the architect, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, some people just, long story short, they're just not meant to be head coaches. And I think Patrick Graham, his personality, I don't see it translating well to being a head coach down the line, but I could be completely wrong with that one. But it's the way I've seen Patrick Graham. He just seems more like the architect in the lab, scheming things up, and he's a genius at that. So far, he's shown that he does that very well. So that's kind of where I'm at with Patrick Graham, and just coordinators in general. So what you think, bro?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of his personality, this is gonna sound blasphemous. His personality, he reminds me personality-wise of like Andy Reid, where he's not like a big, super big loud guy, but he'll crack a joke every now and again, and he'll say some funny stuff, but he's very, he's about his business. The guy that studies the game. You can tell he puts his time in and really studies the game. He came from, he's an Ivy League guy, so he's extremely intelligent, extremely thoughtful of a guy. He's a guy that can run mixed systems, can run a 3-4 or 4-3. He's coached, and he's coached. He's been a position coach, been a defensive coordinator. He's done a lot in this league. So he's coached under several different coaches, and I think he can still relate to players. He's not a guy where I don't feel he's like one of those guys that's like so quiet where he can't relate to the players. I still think he can have a good relationship with the players, but he's not a guy that's going to be out there giving a whole bunch of raw. He's not going to be doing a John Gruden dancing in the middle of a game, in the middle of a huddle. I mean, after a game win. But I think he has enough leadership qualities where if he were called on to be a head coach, I think he can do it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I agree with you. But yeah, that. I definitely agree with you with that one. Let me see. Van City says, "Let's go, bro. I'm going to be out there." Mrs. Van City surprised me with a vacation package and tickets to Donkeys game the other night for Christmas. Can't wait to meet you. Yeah, we definitely got to get together, Van City. I'll buy you a soda, man. I know you don't drink, but yeah, we'll definitely get together. I'm looking forward to it, man. Let me see. He says, Van City says, "I got to think of something Canadian I can bring all of you." Bring some, what is Canadian, man?
Bring some French fries with mayonnaise on them.
Oh, yeah. No, for Vancouver. I don't think they do that over there. I think they do that over in Montreal.
British Columbia? Okay.
Yeah. That's on the East Coast. I don't know. Bring us a maple leaf or something, bro. I don't know. Something super generic and cliche. Bring us a maple leaf, bro. That's what I want, bro. Let me see. Flathead Jesus. I think Graham interviewed with the Giants and Vikings for head coach. Okay. Yeah, I think he's still got a little bit more to prove to get to that point, man. Let me see. Oh, okay. So Van City says Poutine doesn't travel very very well. I think they put like gravy on it or something. It's not mayonnaise, is it?
Yeah. I think it's both.
Like gravy and cheese curds or something like that. Like, I don't know, but that shit sound good, man. But it's not good for me. Like, I know I shouldn't be eating none of that.
I know, man. This is local. We can't call him Big Mike. This is just low carb Mike from now on, man.
Hey, man, low carb Mike Raider. I'm trying, man. I'm doing my best these days, man. But yeah, I'm trying to be less big. I'm trying to be medium Mike Raider by the time next season start.
Okay. You're right. You're right about the poutine.
Yeah, fries, gravy, cheese curd. Yeah, man, that shit sound good as hell, man. That sound pretty good. With a beer, man, you trying to jack me up, bro. You trying to really jack me up. Shout out to R for Life 1970. Says he's kind of goofy to me, but love the guy. He's funny. He'll get his chance. Remember, he coached the East versus. That's right. He coached the East versus West game. The Senior Bowl. He did coach the Senior Bowl. So he's building a resume to get that spot at some point. But yeah, that's where we're at. But guys, I think that's it, man. I think that's a wrap. You got any last words, bro? I know we were gonna get together with KaneTown tomorrow if you're free, man. But you got any other words?
Nah, man. Just this is gonna be a very exciting time for the Raiders this offseason. There's a lot of decisions to make, a lot of decisions, in terms of Josh Jacobs, in terms of Vontae Adams, in terms of our GM, in terms of our head coach. So make sure before y'all leave, y'all subscribe if y'all haven't already, and y'all hit that notification bell, because Big Mike is going to be keeping y'all up on all of the latest Raider news. It's going to be a lot going on. You guys do not want to miss it. Do not. I'm telling you now. You don't want to be out of the loop on it, because this offseason is going to be crazy. So make sure you hit that notification bell and y'all sub.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. And you're right. This offseason, man, we're about to do the full blitz coverage like we did last year. This time I got a lot more heads coming in here watching what I'm doing. We're on the road to 2K subscribers. So this offseason, draft coverage is going to be at a premium. We got some things planned for Planet Raiders. We're going to get that thing revamped. We got some special things coming with that. My guy Severe is going to be involved with that too, but we'll talk once this gets off. But we got that, but most importantly, we got Severe. He's got a channel and he's getting this thing started by next season. So at the Severe Raider, do the search at the Severe Raider, and you'll find his channel, and he's getting things started. He's building his he's getting his equipment together. And we're getting him some exposure. He's over on Pharaoh's channel. So you can check him over there. He's a mainstay over here. He's part of the Swaggering Boisterously crew. So, hey, in the future, Severe Raider, he's going to be the mainstay. He's going to be the Rookie of the Year for 24. So keep an eye out on him, man. But guys, with that one, that is the show. I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. We're going to have KaneTown in the building, the official wet blanket of Raider Nation. And he might be having do some dancing by the end of the season.
Oh man.
To that one. He's not escaping that one, but we'll talk tomorrow, guys. But with that, I'm Big Mike Raider, writer and contributor for Planet Raiders, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, and let me find the close right there. Okay, and there it is. Peace.
This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, we just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking device is just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. That's why you roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas. You wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scramble they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian. The